Hi everyone, Janet here again from Successful Slimming, and as always I hope you're well. I want to start today's video with a question. Have you ever got to a really tough stage of your weight loss journey? Perhaps you've binged or self-sabotaged in some way and felt tempted, because you've fallen off the wagon, to just throw it all away and maybe try something else? Yes? Well, this video is for you, so stay tuned and I'll show you how to get through this really difficult period. I must just add though, it is a little bit longer than my normal videos, so I do apologise about that, but I think it's a really important area to discuss, so please do bear with me. If you're going through a really tough time, first let me reassure you that you're not alone. We've all been there. You get into a really difficult and destructive cycle, a rut, where you're doing really well 1 minute and then something comes along and throws a spanner in the works, and it's like the road was smooth and you were making great progress, but then suddenly you hit a bump or something that maybe even feels like a mountain and your whole mental attitude changes. Well, I mean, perhaps the scales haven't moved as much as you'd hoped, or you might have binged when you knew you weren't hungry or overeaten, even though you knew you were full. So you now feel guilty for making those choices. And then for many people, when they feel emotionally overwhelmed, these bad feelings mean that they turn to food for comfort, which of course is always very temporary and ultimately makes the situation worse, which in turn makes you feel even more depressed, and it's a vicious circle and you just then feel like throwing it all away. Well, in my opinion, when we hit a time like this, these negative feelings as a direct result of dieting and a dieting attitude, and it's sort of like a lifetime of being on diets that's made us think this way, and we need to unpick it. I mean, for me, I literally spent my entire life on a diet until I found this system. So whether it was Weight Watchers or Slimming World or whatever, I mean, I've always said that you don't get to a size 30 like I was without having tried every type going. But the problem is, diets actually perpetuate this negative feeling that we get because we're told that there are foods that are good and there are foods that are bad. And it's a very common, a very normal human response that when you've done something bad, or in our case, eaten something that's forbidden, then you should berate yourself, tell yourself off, punish yourself. Well, this is when people say, well, I can't cope with feeling like failure, so instead of being on this diet and restricting myself and not making much progress, and I only ever feel bad, and well, I may as well throw it away because I don't even really believe I'll be able to do it anyway. And this happens, and my attitude of constantly going on diets and failing made me believe that I couldn't do it, and that success only happened to other people, and that those that it did happen for must have had more motivation than I did, or didn't experience the struggles that I did. The thing that I can honestly tell you though is that that isn't true. I didn't and don't have more motivation than you. The big difference though is that I threw that diet mentality away. I stopped letting diets control whether I felt good and successful or bad and a failure. Now, it stands to reason with a lifetime of being on a diet and with this attitude, it is going to take some time to unpick it. It's not going to happen overnight, but it is absolutely key to the system that you do overcome the mentality that has come from dieting, which has seen us develop a mindset that if we have a bad day, we have failed. And with consecutive days like that, it brings the temptation to throw it all away and try something else. Simply unhelpful and untrue. And that's where I'm going to come to a point that may not be popular, but I really believe in. I would never tell you what you should do. Everyone knows what works best for them. But I can only tell you that, I've been there and done it, and I can tell you what I've learned along the way. And one thing I really do truly believe is that if you're following this system, then you shouldn't also be going to a diet club like Weight Watchers or Slimming World. I do completely understand the temptation too. And I understand some of the benefits it brings for people. But I truly believe that by continuing to go, you subconsciously continue to adopt a diet attitude, and without meaning to, you might be jeopardising your chances of success in the long term. You know, don't get me wrong, I really do get it. I used to like the process of going to the meetings, you know, getting weighed in, and being there gave me, you know, some sort of accountability and motivation, and the camaraderie of being with other people in similar situations and talking to them about our successes and our failures. But I do truly believe that any benefit that you're going to get is completely outweighed by the fact that you will, knowingly or not, still be adopting an unhelpful diet mentality. And whilst we're talking about diets, let's not forget that although they can all work in the short term, study after study has proved that long term people don't keep the weight off. I mean, that's why you're here, isn't it? Looking for something better. I'm pretty sure we've all gone on diets, lost weight, and then stopped the diet for one reason or another, and then reverted back to old habits, and the weight and more has gone back on, and then you've gone to the Slimming Club again. I mean, actually, the failure return rate is part of a Slimming Club's business model, but that's a discussion for another day. My point is, we need to change our habits in order to lose weight in the long term, which is why this system is so remarkably successful, and why we need to find a way to keep you here and on track, even during challenging times. So, what should we do? Well, one of the biggest and most important messages I can give you is that losing weight is not about food. It's all about mental attitude. We need to leave behind the idea that if we have a bad day or a bad week and we're struggling to follow the rules, then we should throw it all away and try something else. Absolutely not. You know, you might have seen my analogy in our Facebook group of how this weight loss journey we're on is like driving a car home along a smooth road. So we know the route and we know the way we need to go, but then we get distracted and miss the turning and end up on a different road. The problem is this road is very bumpy and could cause damage to your car in the long run. So we tell ourselves off for having missed the turning. I mean, how could we be so stupid? How could we have done that? You know, and we feel really, really bad for this mistake that we've made. And we make ourselves feel bad and like a failure, but the truth is this bumpy road could really damage the car, so we've got to decide what to do. Well, we've got three options. Number one, throw our hands in the air and say, well, whatever, I'll just carry along this bumpy road and damage my car even more until it breaks down, and actually that's all I deserve anyway for having been so stupid, for taking the wrong turn, so I deserve it. 2, get out of the car and abandon it. Give up and see if I can find another way to get back home, having thrown a perfectly good car away, but I can't be bothered to, and in fact I don't even believe I've got the strength to do anything else. Or 3, turn the car around and accept that the journey back along that road will be bumpy. But know that when I find the right turning again, the road will be smooth and I can make great progress again. And not only will I have not thrown away a perfectly good car, but I'll have also mentally identified that area where I took the wrong turn and would be better prepared next time not to take that wrong turning again. I can actually turn that feeling of failure around to one of success for having managed a difficult situation and not let it negatively affect my plans long term. The thing we have to accept is that there are going to be bumps in the road. We have to accept that it's a normal part of taking this journey. Sometimes we will take the wrong turning, but it doesn't matter because we know how to get back and just keep going. We can't let ourselves throw it all away. So let's think about successful people for a moment, not just in weight loss, but in life in general, people that really make it happen. What makes them so successful? Are they more motivated? Well, some maybe. But I can honestly tell you that for me, it was simply my attitude and the fact that I planned for these challenges and I carried on despite them. It's about recognising that their bumps in the road will happen and that it's normal and you should be forgiven for them. Forgive yourself. One thing that I can promise you is that my journey was littered with bumps in the road. And had I given up, every time I came upon an obstacle, then I wouldn't be here, a size 8 and 13.5 stone lighter. I don't have more motivation than you, I promise. I just stopped looking at these events as failures, but as planned, expected occurrences that are part of the journey, a normal part. It was this change in attitude that was like a light bulb moment. It was like the switch that was flicked in my mind, and I was finally able to banish, the shackles that a lifetime of dieting had unknowingly put on me. I was actually free to be the person that I wanted to be and lose weight and gain a happiness I didn't even know I was lacking. So, when you are faced with a challenging time that's making you wonder if it's all worth it, maybe you've had a binge and feel a failure because of it, maybe you haven't seen the scales moving quite the way you were hoping for, and so think the effort isn't worth it and you should just throw it all away. Or maybe you're just in a really low place and you can't picture success happening to you. If you're faced with times like that, then please just remember it's normal. I went through it, and every person that has achieved success in any path of life has also been through it. Forgive yourself, stand tall, and just keep going. Guys, I really do hope that's helped. Please let me know in the comments if it has. And also, do you have any tips that you can share on how you get through a difficult time? What have you learnt along your journey that has helped you and that you can share to maybe help others? I'd love to hear from you. And as always, please do subscribe to my YouTube channel and Facebook page. And if you found today's video useful, then share it with your friends as well. Anyway, thank you for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye-bye.